Hello everyone, welcome to Achievers IAS classes. Let's begin our discussion on the current events of 13th March 2018. The first issue in news is regarding a public interest litigation filed in the Supreme Court seeking to ban legislators as practicing lawyers. The petitioner argues that legislators who are also lawyers are of serious concern to both judiciary as well as the legislature because they utilize their position as MPs or MLAs to be visible in the public domain, which essentially amounts to advertising their own brand among the general public, many of them who are potential litigants of the lawyer. The petition highlighted that this practice was in violation of Rule 49 of the Bar Council of India Act, which forbids an advocate to be a salaried employee of any person, government, or firm as long as he continues to practice. And since MPs and MLAs draw their salaries from the Consolidated Fund of India, they should be considered as the employees of the state. Also, Section 21 of the Indian Penal Code and Section 2C of the Prevention of Corruption Act categorizes MPs and MLAs as public servants. In this regard, allowing them to practice as an advocate and restricting other public servants was arbitrary and violative of Articles 14 and 15 of the Constitution. The petitioner further went on to say that it was professional misconduct that MLAs and MPs who got salary and other benefits from the public fund appeared against the government in several instances. We'll further look into this issue based on the judgment of the Supreme Court. Till then, let's move on to the next issue, which is regarding the recent order of the Supreme Court seeking data from high courts on the number of pending cases of child sexual abuse booked under the Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act. The court, while hearing the brutal sexual assault case of an 8-month-old baby in the national capital, was made aware that there was a 95% pendency rate as per the statistics of the National Crime Records Bureau. Therefore, it ordered collection of fresh and independent data under the supervision of Chief Justices of the High Court. Further, the Supreme Court said that it wanted to know the status of these pending cases to set a deadline for the completion of trials in the special courts as designated under the Act. With that, let's look into the next issue, which is regarding the recent initiative of the Indian Medical Association to raise awareness for lesser consumption of salt, sugar, and oil, which are the cause of majority of the lifestyle diseases. The IMA wants to sensitize the public to the hazards of these food substances and motivate them to reduce the intake of such ingredients per person per day, because excessive consumption of salt, sugar, and oil have been linked to various life-threatening diseases like obesity, hypertension, diabetes, chronic kidney disease, etc. Also, the average Indian consumption of these ingredients is much higher than what is prescribed by the World Health Organization for a healthy lifestyle. Now let's move on to the next issue, which is an editorial regarding the rollout of the e-way bill system. The government has decided to implement the e-way bill system from April 1st for all interstate movement of goods above the value of 50,000 rupees. The earlier rollout plan from Feb 1st was aborted due to lack of necessary IT infrastructure, and in this regard, the government intends to introduce the e-way bill system in a phased manner, aiming to bring all states on board by June 1st. This, according to some economists, might lead to a compliance nightmare because, according to the rules, IT officials can intercept any mode of conveyance to carry out physical verification of the e-way bills while the goods are in transit, which is similar to the current physical checkpost system, which was to be replaced by the e-way bill system. Therefore, the compliance mechanism has to be further simplified by formulating a simpler return process involving just one monthly filing. In this regard, certainty of timelines as well as a truly simple GST system has to be put in place to realize its original objective to lessen the compliance burden as well as reduce tax evasion. With that, let's look into the next issue, which is an editorial regarding the bilateral relations between India and France. The recent visit of the French president to India has highlighted the growing areas of convergence between the two countries, like the joint vision statement on the Indian Ocean region aimed at countering Chinese presence in the region, commitment to the Jaipur nuclear power plant, joint ventures on climate change, financial commitment towards enhancing solar energy given that the two countries are the founding members of the International Solar Alliance, etc. Further, the growing defense cooperation between the two countries, as evident from the reciprocal logistic support agreement, is a signal to Russia and US that both India and France feel the need to diversify their strategic postures behind their current choices. With regard to climate change, both India and France, by constituting the International Solar Alliance, are proposing an alternative leadership model for the less developed countries, thereby challenging the geopolitical power structure centered around the fossil fuel energy resources. In this regard, given the huge capital needs of the solar energy sector, India and France have so far committed 1.4 billion and 1.3 billion dollars respectively. However, given the low solar power tariffs, there is little scope to make the domestic solar power industry profitable unless the cost of solar panels and other components are brought down drastically, because unlike solar power, thermal power can be produced and scaled up or scaled down according to demand and is less dependent on the vagaries of weather. Further, negotiations between India and France over the nuclear power plant in Jaitapur has made very slow progress, missing several deadlines in the previous years. Coming to the bilateral cooperation in the Indian Ocean region too, it is more symbolic because France also supports the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative, thereby limiting its strategic space. Therefore, the two countries, with a firm belief in a multipolar world, have numerous areas of strategic convergences, but ground realities in realizing the full potential of bilateral cooperation have to be kept in mind in their future engagements. On that note, I wrap up today's news analysis. Do share this content if you like it. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.